First at 4, House managers argue that a Michigan protest was a dress rehearsal for the attack on the U.S. Capitol. We've got that part of the story coming up. Paula?
People with no shot at getting the COVID shot today got the shot.
Oh, it's real exciting. You just got to stay warm.
I'm Paula Tutman, leveling the access to the disparity in who gets the shot and why. That's the story I'm working on today.
And a sun-splashed afternoon, but not all of us are dry. Some folks are getting snow right now, and more of us get it tonight. We'll look at that and a deeper freeze for the weekend right now. First at 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon. I'm Devin Skillian in for Karen Drew today. Thanks for watching our online edition of First at 4. We're going to start with the question. Was a protest in Lansing a kind of dress rehearsal for the attack on the U.S. Capitol? House managers say yes as they continue their case against former President Donald Trump. Kimberly Gill in the newsroom with the latest on this as the House managers are trying to establish a pattern here, Kim.
They are, and good afternoon to you, Devin. The House managers are trying to demonstrate that the former president had orchestrated volatile protests in the past. They showed a series of tweets from Mr. Trump back in 2020, eventually rallying people to, quote, liberate Michigan, all leading up to a tense showdown in Lansing. Listen closely and look at the photos you're about to see here.
Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler, the winner!
The siege of the Michigan State House was effectively a state-level dress rehearsal for the siege of the U.S. Capitol that Trump incited on January 6th. It was a preview of the coming insurrection.
In addition to showing how Mr. Trump's past actions led to the deadly attack in D.C., House managers focused on what comes next. They argue convicting Trump isn't just about what he's already done, but what might happen in the future.
It's making sure that no future official, no future president does the same exact thing President Trump does. President Trump's lack of remorse shows that he will undoubtedly cause future harm if allowed, because he still refuses to account for his previous high grave crime against our government. You know, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump running again in 4 years. I'm afraid he's going to run again and lose, because he can do this again.
The House managers are expected to wrap up their case today. Then the former president's legal team will have up to 16 hours to present their case. The trial should last into the weekend. You can follow each step of it on Local 4 and right here on clickondetroit.com. Devin, we'll send it back to you.
You got it. All right, Kim.
Yep.
Federal agents have made a third arrest now in Michigan connected to the riots at the U.S. Capitol. 56-year-old James Allen Mells of Shelby Township appeared before a federal judge in Detroit this afternoon. He is charged with knowingly entering the Capitol, violent entry, and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Mells was released today on $10,000 bond. His case is being transferred, though, to Washington, D.C. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in federal prison. We are digging into the criminal complaint. We'll have more on that story coming up on our broadcast side tonight at 6. Today, we asked Michigan's Democratic senators if they think there's a chance that President Trump will be convicted, and we got their thoughts on the evidence that they saw yesterday.
To watch videos of the violent attack by Trump supporters and the fact that they were engaged in hand-to-hand combat with police officers and attacking the police, it was disturbing in a major way.
There will be a bipartisan vote, more Republicans joining us than before because of the evidence that has been right in front of us and what we personally experienced. So this will go down in history as a bipartisan vote. Whether it's enough to get 2/3 vote, I think that's a high bar.
NBC Nightly News will feature team coverage of today's happenings in the Senate. We hope you'll stick with Local 4 through the evening, and Lester Holt coming up at 6:30. The federal trial for 5 men accused of plotting to kidnap Governor Whitmer has been postponed for several months. A judge decided defense attorneys need more time to receive and analyze the evidence. The FBI says it broke up the plot by anti-government extremists last October. 6 people have been charged in federal court. One, as you may recall, has already pleaded guilty and is cooperating with prosecutors. years. Trial was supposed to start March 23rd. It's now been pushed to October 12th, so not until this fall. Governor Whitmer has just launched the state's annual budget negotiations with her 2020 spending proposals. Her plan totals about $67 billion. Three top priorities: economic re-engagement, vaccine dissemination, and a return to in-person learning for schools. Governor hopes to earmark $570 million to address learning loss, K through 12, connected to the pandemic. That's on top of a 2% increase in base aid for traditional school districts. And of course, the budget has to pass through the Republican-led legislature, so there is no doubt a fight coming, and we will continue to follow it every step of the way. Each day we keep you posted on Michigan's battle against the coronavirus, and this afternoon, state reporting we've jumped back up over the 1,000 mark, more than 1,200 new cases over the past 24 hours, slight jump from earlier in the week. We've also seen 75 more deaths. That includes 55 from a records review. City of Detroit continues to expand eligibility for vaccines. They're not open to people with documented intellectual or developmental disabilities and home health care workers who live in Detroit. I should say they are now open. Meantime, FEMA has given more than $18 million to the city to support the distribution program. Also, Oakland County's treasurer has continued a moratorium on property tax foreclosures. It will run through 2021, so all year long. We've been following the frustration a lot of people are feeling, though, as they try to schedule a COVID vaccine. We've been hearing real horror stories of people on the phone or computer being there for hours as they try to book a slot. Well, what if you don't even have a laptop or the ability to sit on the phone all day? Paula Tutman looks at one program in Wayne County working to close the gap to vaccine access. Paula.
Not everyone has a smartphone, not everyone has a laptop or even internet access, and certainly not everyone has the ability to sit on the phone or a laptop for hours and hours trying to score a scheduled COVID-19 vaccine. And that's part of the disparity of who's getting the vaccine and why.
Next floor, go ahead on in.
There's sheer excitement in Southwest Detroit today as people who've had no shot at getting a COVID vaccine enthusiastically line up for the shot.
Oh, it's real exciting. You just got to stay warm.
Olivia has struggled to find the shot or get on a list.
Well, I went through my psychiatrist agency, and they go through for your physical through another doctor they have on Jefferson, and they said they couldn't get it.
Blacks, Latinx, and other people of color and those living below the poverty line are more likely to contract COVID-19 and die from it, according to every single study and CDC statistic. Yet, a fraction of people who fall in marginalized populations are getting the vaccine compared to whites. For many, it's a simple case of lack of access.
Disparity is not only in healthcare, disparity is also in access to technology. You know, when we talk, look, Paula, you and I are communicating in this forum. Look, prior to this, we would have been in person having this conversation. For most of the folks we serve, yes, you might be able to give them a laptop, but are you also going to provide internet services for them? Are you also going to provide the tutelage that would be needed to operate these things?
The Kaiser Family Foundation has been tracking who's been getting the vaccine and who hasn't. Take a look at the difference between blacks, Hispanics, Asians, then whites.
Folks are trying to put food on their table, making sure that they have a roof over their head. They're not thinking, let me buy that computer and reach out to Comcast or Xfinity to set up my network. That's not part of the calculus.
This week, a leveling of the playing field for 3,000 Detroiters and counting because of the partnership between the City of Detroit and Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, which has identified seniors, low-wage essential workers, and clients in the mental health system to get fair access to the vaccine.
Just yesterday alone, we were at one of our locations, and over close to 200 folks came out. That's 200 people that would have either had to wait or may not have even had access at all.
By crisscrossing the city and having on-site vaccine locations in which people are picked up and even ferried to the site, or the vaccines are taken to them, this partnership hopes to vaccinate as many as 10,000 people between now and next week. Paula Tutman, Local 4.
Yeah. All right, Paula, the current program is for citizens of Detroit, but the Detroit-Wayne Integrated Health Network is looking for ways, we're told, to partner with other cities in Wayne County, hoping to expand their efforts to reach people who also don't have easy access to the vaccine. So we'll continue to follow it. And we are continuing to track access to vaccines all over Metro Detroit. Our web team has assembled a list of every health department and health system, so you can find a link to get started at clickondetroit.com. All right, let's head to Ben Bailey, who don't let the sunshine fool you. We're stuck in the deep freeze right now, Ben.
Yeah, it's another distraction. It's a good one. But yeah, we are still looking at those temperatures, which are in the low to mid 20s for highs, well below our average for this time of year. And we've got snow out there on Storm Tracker 4. This is lake effect stuff that's coming in off of Lake Huron, and it has expanded in the last hour. You can see that one stream there between about Lakeport and Port Huron, and it is sinking a little bit further to the south. This is intense enough to produce some accumulations, possibly 1 to 2 inches there along the lakeshore, and it does look like it's trying to get south of 69, maybe reaching into parts of Macomb County before this is all wrapped up shortly after sunset tonight. So we're at 24 here in Detroit, which is going to be one of our warmer numbers, by the way. Temperatures up there to the north and west of us more than 30 degrees colder, and some of that cold air is going to continue to spill down here as we head towards the weekend. So you can see our averages are actually going up. 34 Friday, 35 the average high for the weekend and beyond. And those daytime highs keep going down. 24 Friday, 22 Saturday, and teens. That's as good as it gets for Sunday and Monday. But of course, the lows will be even a bigger story. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now let's talk snow. In addition to that lake effect stuff, we've got more widespread stuff coming in tonight. A lot of the higher totals we're expecting overnight are going to be in the north zone. But even the highest totals are probably going to be around a ½ inch. It's not going to be much. Saturday, a little bit of a different story. That stuff gets started just before sunrise and will be with us throughout the day and the evening, finally wrapping up in the early morning hours of Sunday. But then we've got two systems next week, Tuesday and Thursday, and these look like the real deal. You can tell just from the darker shades of blue there and the fact they're coming out of the southwest with more moisture that these will be a little bit more impactful, both for Tuesday and Thursday. They have the potential to triple the amounts that we see here on Saturday, and this is what we're expecting Saturday into very early Sunday morning. About 2 inches across most of the area, and it looks like that 94 corridor may see some of the higher totals over the weekend. So tonight, 12 degrees, and again, the stuff we're expecting, it's going to be about a ½ inch or less with those higher totals being in the north zone. Here's your 4-zone forecast as we look at Thursday afternoon's wind chills. 12 degrees is what we're expecting, obviously, here in Detroit, and we'll see numbers that are going to be very similar as we get into the upcoming weekend. Let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. Those numbers continue to go down. And again, it's those morning lows that are going to be the bigger story. 0 degrees Sunday night into Monday. Devin, if we hit that, it'll be the coldest mark we have seen in more than 2 years. February 1st, 2019, we actually had -1. So we'll be very close to that mark on Sunday night.
Yeah, 0, not so much a temperature, but a lack of one is what I always think when I see that pop up on one of your maps. All right, Ben. Before we go here, a preview of our next story about former Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford and his wife Kelly. They've been sharing their Detroit memories with us, and we're going to have this coming up at 5 o'clock.
During the last 12 years, Matthew Stafford has certainly made an impact here at Ford Field, but it's what Matthew and his wife Kelly have planned next for the people of Detroit that will change lives.
I wanted to make sure that we left on a high note and left, something to come back to. We want to come back and be able to be a part of the city for a long time.
I'm Hank Winchester with that story, new tonight.
And thanks for being with us for this online edition of First at 4. Right now, NBC continues its coverage of the impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. It is winding down, at least as far as the House manager's part of the case, before we move to the Trump defense of all this. We'll hope to see you here for Local 4 News coming up at 5. Remember, if we're not on the air on the broadcast side, you can get updates right here at clickondetroit.com.